If someone offers to help and your first reaction is, "No, I'm fine," even when you are quietly falling apart, this may not be independence. It may be the part of you that learned no one was coming. You did not become strong because you never needed anyone. You became strong because needing someone once felt unsafe. And the saddest part is that people may now praise the very habit that was built from being left alone. They call you mature, reliable, low maintenance, easy to love. But they do not see what it costs you to be easy. They do not see the panic behind a simple favor. They do not see how fast your body tightens when someone asks, "Do you need anything?" They do not see how quickly you smile and say no because yes feels too exposed. And in a moment, you will see why being called strong can become the loneliest compliment. Childhood emotional neglect is not always the kind of pain people recognize. It may not leave a dramatic story you can explain in one sentence. Sometimes, it is not about what was done to you. It is about what never arrived, the comfort that never came, the question no one asked twice, the hug that was too rare, the parent who handled your schedule, your meals, your school forms, but never really noticed the storm behind your quiet face. You may have had a house, but not a soft place to land. So you adapted. Not loudly, not all at once. You simply stopped expecting people to notice. You stopped making your sadness visible. You stopped asking for reassurance. You became the child who did not cause trouble, who read the room before speaking, who knew when an adult was tired, irritated, distant, or unavailable. If the air felt heavy, you became smaller. If someone seemed upset, you blamed yourself. If you needed comfort, you waited until the need passed. And over time, needing less started to feel like safety. But the first twist is this. A child does not stop needing love just because love is unavailable. A child only learns to hide the need better. That hidden need can follow you into adulthood in ways that look completely normal. You might be the person who says, "Anywhere is fine." When someone asks where you want to eat, you might rewrite a message 5 times so you do not sound too needy. You might carry heavy things alone while someone willing to help stands beside you. You might feel guilty resting, as if your worth disappears the moment you stop being useful. And there is one habit that makes this wound almost invisible. You become good at functioning. Too good. You go to work. You answer messages. You remember other people's problems. You show up when they need you. You give calm advice while your own chest feels heavy. You become the therapist friend, the reliable one, the person who never asks for too much. People trust your mask because you have worn it so well. But deep down, there may be a question you almost never say out loud. If I stopped being useful, would anyone still stay? You may care for people deeply, but struggle to receive care from them. Someone brings you soup when you are sick, and instead of relaxing, you feel uncomfortable. Someone says, "I'm here for you," and part of you searches for the catch. Someone loves you gently, and your nervous system does not know whether to feel safe or suspicious. But the most painful part is not that you avoid help. It is what happens when help finally appears. You may freeze. You may minimize. You may say, "It's not a big deal." You may turn someone's kindness into a debt you need to repay quickly, because somewhere inside, you were not taught that care could be free. When care was inconsistent or emotionally absent, kindness can feel like a trap. Attention can feel temporary. Support can feel like something that will be taken away once you become too heavy to hold. So you try to stay light. You apologize before asking. You over-explain before choosing. You say yes when your body is begging you to say no. You turn your needs into small, polite sentences, hoping they will not bother anyone. "I'm sorry, but could I ask something?" "Sorry, I know this is probably annoying." "Sorry, I'm just being sensitive." And most people hear an apology, but underneath it is something much older. "Please do not be upset that I exist." That is not a personality trait. That is a wound with good manners. No child is born believing their needs are a burden. Children reach, they cry, they ask, they repeat. They look for faces that look back. A child's nervous system is built to learn one basic truth. When I feel too much, someone can help me survive it. But if no one helps enough, the child creates a different truth. When I feel too much, I must disappear. This is where strength quietly turns into loneliness. Maybe you learned to become invisible in small ways. You kept your opinions flexible. You became easygoing before you even knew what you wanted. You studied other people's moods to avoid becoming the reason they changed. You became a mirror because having your own shape felt risky. And now someone asks, "What do you want?" Your mind goes blank. Not because you have no preferences, but because your preferences were buried so deep that finding them now feels like searching for a voice in another room. But what protects you in childhood can imprison you in adulthood. The same numbness that kept you from breaking then may now keep you from feeling joy. The same independence that kept you safe then may now keep you from being known. The same silence that prevented rejection then may now prevent intimacy. And here is the clearer twist. You may think your problem is that you do not know how to need people, but maybe the deeper problem is that you were taught needing people would cost you love. So, every close relationship becomes a quiet negotiation. How much can I feel before they pull away? How much can I ask before they regret choosing me? How much of the real me can I show before I become too much? You may test people without meaning to. You may withdraw to see if they notice. You may push away the person who is finally kind, because kindness feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel unsafe. You may feel lonely even when someone is beside you, because the part of you that needed love first still does not believe it is allowed to receive it. The mask worked so well that even love has trouble finding you under it. But this is not your fault. Your nervous system did not choose loneliness because it wanted to suffer. It chose loneliness because, at one point, loneliness was more predictable than disappointment. If you never ask, you never hear no. If you never lean, you never feel someone step away. If you never need, you never risk discovering that no one knows how to hold you. That logic makes sense to a neglected child. But you are not only that child anymore. You are also the adult who can begin to notice what no one noticed then. And noticing is where healing begins. Not with a dramatic transformation. Not with forcing yourself to trust everyone. Not with oversharing your deepest pain to people who have not earned access to it. Healing starts smaller. It starts when someone asks what you want to eat, and you tell the truth once. I'd actually like the Italian place. It starts when you're about to say, I'm fine, and you pause long enough to ask, is that true, or is that automatic? It starts when you stop calling yourself needy for having a normal human need. And it starts when you understand this sentence. You did not need too much. You were noticed too little. You were not asking for too much when you wanted comfort. You were not dramatic when you wanted someone to ask what was wrong. You were not selfish when you needed attention, patience, warmth, or reassurance. A child who deserved more than just to living, fed, and managed. A child who deserved to be emotionally met. A child who deserved someone to notice the silence and say, you seem different today. Come here. Tell me what is going on. So now, your healing may sound like learning to speak to that part with the gentleness it never got. When you feel ashamed for needing help, try saying, needing support does not make me a burden. When you feel yourself shrinking, try asking, what would I want if I were not afraid of disappointing anyone? When you feel the urge to disappear, try one honest sentence to one safe person. I'm having a hard day, and I don't really want to be alone. Small softness is still a return to yourself. This does not mean everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. Some people will still be careless with it. Healing does not mean pretending every person is safe. It means learning that one person's inability to care for you is not proof that your needs are wrong. It means choosing people who do not punish honesty. People who can hear your feelings without making you manage theirs. People who do not only love the useful version of you, you only have to learn that independence is healthiest when it is a choice, not a cage. Because needing nothing may have kept you safe once, but now it may be keeping you unseen. And you were never meant to be unseen forever. You were meant to have a voice, a preference, a bad day, a need, a moment where you do not have to earn care by being impressive, helpful, calm, or convenient. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be loved before you prove you are useful. So the next time you almost say, don't worry, I've got it, pause for 1 second. Ask yourself, do I truly want to do this alone? Or did I learn that alone was the only safe option? That question may feel small, but it can open a door. If this made you feel a little less alone, stay with Empty But Aware. Subscribe for soft psychology stories about the feelings you were never taught how to name and the parts of you that are finally ready to be seen.